If I had to define what a 5 out of 10 movie looks like, just the absolute definition of mediocre, it would be Supergirl. And a 5 out of 10 movie is obviously right down the middle, meaning, at least in my opinion, neither the positives or the negatives outweigh each other, meaning there are a handful of both positives and negatives. As always, I'd like to start with the positives, and the first and most obvious one, at least in my opinion, is that Millie Alcock is cast to perfection as Supergirl. She manages to bring both an edgy and likable personality to the character that I feel is actually pretty difficult to do, and I feel like she played the role about as well as I could imagine anyone doing it. I'm definitely excited to see what the DCU does with her character in the future, and I just get excited thinking about her fighting alongside Superman or even other DC characters like Batman and Wonder Woman. Another positive also in the casting department is Jason Momoa as Lobo. He's been fan cast as Lobo since the day he even began acting, and so to finally see him in the role was definitely satisfying. I feel like whenever someone gets unanimously fan cast as somebody, no matter who it is, one I hear all the time is Willem Dafoe as Joker, but no matter what the role is, usually when everybody on the planet agrees they would be great in the role, they're usually right, and that's the case here with Momoa. I almost feel like the movie got a shot of adrenaline every time he was on screen, like his presence instantly added a level of enjoyability that I didn't really feel the rest of the time. Another positive I have is that I actually enjoyed the relationship between Kara and Krypto. I thought that was a pretty heartfelt and endearing dynamic that worked emotionally for me more than anything else in the entire movie. However, I think that's about where the positives end for me. And I know that was kind of short for a movie that I said is probably equally split between the good and the bad, but I think that just shows you how much weight I place on Millie Alcock's phenomenal performance. But yeah, moving into the negatives, I think the first thing I have to say is that this movie is just dull. One of the ways I mean that is visually. Based on the trailers, I thought it actually had a chance to be a really good looking, bright and colorful movie, but it turns out that all of those colorful shots they included in the trailer are just about the only ones of the whole movie. The rest of it looks like a mix of brown, black, and a little bit of yellow, just a really bare color palette that doesn't exactly appeal to my eyes. Another way I mean that the movie is dull is with its characters, and I know I already praised two of them, but those are the only two that actually work for me. Eve Ridley plays a character named Ruthie, who basically is going after the villain because he killed her family, and from the moment she's introduced, you can pretty much map out what her entire character arc is going to be. It's not even a knock against Ridley, I feel like she honestly did about as much as she could based on what she was given, but the problem is that what she was given is flat and boring. Another character that I cannot speak harshly enough about is the movie's main villain, Krim. I don't believe I'm exaggerating when I say that this is one of the absolute worst comic book movie villains I have ever seen in my life. It feels like they put some placeholder in for a villain while they were writing the movie saying, okay, this is where we're going to put the villain, but for right now we can just make him evil for no reason and have no character backstory or arc. We can do that later, and then they just forgot to do it. He is so boring and uninteresting. Every time he came on screen, I expected them to do something different with him, but he's just the exact same. Every line he delivers is the same. Everything he does feels the same. There's absolutely no reason for us to care about him, much less dislike him, and because of that, there didn't feel like any true conflict in the movie. Sure, the story sets up some conflict, obviously, but not in any way that actually leaves you caring about anything that happens. And in a much larger sense, when it comes to caring about anything that happens, I think it fails at that overall, not just with the villain. I understand this is an adaptation of what is supposed to be a really good comic, and I personally haven't read it, but I can't imagine this is a good version of it at all. Not only did the movie's pacing make an hour and 48 minutes feel like 3 hours, but I also just didn't have any interest in any of it. I thought some moments worked, like there were some decent flashback scenes to the destruction of Krypton and all that I actually enjoyed, and I think the last 5 minutes did a pretty good job of wrapping things up in a way that felt somewhat emotionally resonant, but I just don't know, man. How many different ways are there to say that a movie is boring without just saying it? The whole time I was actually kind of thinking this felt like a really bad Star Wars movie, but that may just be me. The final negative I just have to address, just because I've seen a lot of people talking about it on social media, is that the needle drop that plays in the final fight of this movie is easily the worst I have ever heard. It's funny, earlier on in the fight there's another needle drop and I was sitting there thinking, hey, this isn't that bad, this is what everybody's freaking out over, and then a couple minutes go by and I was ready to defend it, but then I start hearing this song playing and I had the physical reaction in the theater of that guy from SpongeBob. Overall, I don't think I would say it was a complete swing and a miss for DC. There are some decent decisions and, like I said, some great casting choices that I'm excited to watch continue in their roles for years to come, but this movie just feels so forgettable. Whether it's the terrible villain or the dull visuals, this feels like the kind of film where a few years from now, I'll be doing some DCU ranking or some video essay that requires me to talk about this movie, and I'll have to sit back and think, wait, what happened in that one? It's tough to see James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU off to a bumpy start, but I still think they'll be okay. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the direction of the DCU, I'll link a video I made about that in the description below. But with all those good and bad things combined, my final score for Supergirl is a 5.2 out of 10. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate it. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you thought of Supergirl. Do you think it worked? Did you hate it? Or were you more like me, you thought it was right down the middle? I genuinely want to hear it down below. If you want to help out the channel, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. We're trying to hit 500 subs on the channel as soon as possible. But with that being said, thanks again so much for watching, and God bless.